try this again, guys. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, so we're running a little late, and we apologize for that. But we're going to do it right. We got the mics going now. Some reason the producer forgot to connect the mics, I guess, but we're going to work past it. So welcome to another episode of the Cast&Blast podcast. I'm your host, Pinche Ben. Today we got some special guests joining us. We got Jimmy Trent, that's my co-host, and we got some special guests. That's Justin Cox and Jesse Todd from One Mission Outdoors. Say what's up, guys.
What's up?
We brought these guys in. They're local hunters in the area. We're going to be talking turkey today. Just a couple guys we've been trying to link up with here for a while. They are a couple veterans just like us, avid hunters that have been getting after it for a while, and specifically this particular area. So if you want to know anything turkey hunting, these are the guys to ask. So we brought them on today to kind of talk a little bit of turkey talk. It's turkey season started this weekend, and we're going to turn it over to Jimmy and get the conversation rolling. Here we go.
Yeah, like Ben was saying, these are our local subject matter experts on all things turkeys. So we're excited to have them here. We're gonna start talking about some turkeys. We tried this earlier a few minutes ago. Didn't work out that well. Like Ben said, just no audio. So we're not going to expedite the intros, but we're just going to kind of go back through them again. So sorry about that, gentlemen. It happens. Okay. So like Ben was saying, we got Jesse Todd of One Mission Outdoor and Justin Cox of what's your drone company again?
Backcountry Drones.
Backcountry Drone. So that Backcountry Drone, or the drone business itself, that stuff's pretty cool. Some cool technology that we're going to get into and talk about that here in a minute. But so for now, we're talking turkeys. We'll let these two gentlemen kind of go through their introduction again. Once again, apologize for doing the intros again.
Go first this time.
You want me to go first? Like I said, I'm Justin. I've been hunting turkeys since 2020.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So about 5 years now. Definitely not a super turkey expert yet.
Not yet.
But I definitely picked it up quick. And like I said, I'm still active duty. I hunt Fort Cavazos mainly. I'm heavily involved with the biologists on base to kind of track how turkeys are doing, how deer are doing, things like that, policy changes and all that stuff. But and I'm just a normal dude. I own a business. I operate part-time, backcountry drones like we talked about. And, that's primarily thermal wildlife surveys. So I have counted turkey. I have counted deer. Most of it's also just animal rescue, lost pets and stuff that.
I didn't even think of that aspect. That makes sense.
I didn't think of it too until somebody called me and they were just like, "You gonna look for my dog?" I'm like, "I guess I could," and then it just exploded and it was like, "Oh, this is a thing." But yeah, that keeps me pretty busy outside of helping Jesse here run One Mission Outdoors, which was, an idea that I know was cooking in his brain for a long time, and I got back from DC and I was just like, send it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So it's kind of evolved into what it is now, and it's, just highlighting veterans and active duty and getting after it.
Cool.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm Jesse. Like you said, I thought about One Mission Outdoors years and years ago. I think I was in South Korea, and I was like, I know a lot of outdoor guys. I want to bring them all into one central location, and that's sort of where the idea came from. And we didn't really make it an official thing until he came aboard, and he's helped me, sort of manage everything and get everything lined up. And I think we've done really well so far. But for me, like I said, I've been hunting turkey for 18 years, since 2007. Served in the Army for 22 years, and I use the outdoors as an outlet.
Yeah.
It is a stress reliever for me. We call it outdoor therapy.
Yep, we do. Same.
And it is just a place that is special to our hearts to just get outside and just relieve our minds of all the stress in life, right? And that's what I've been using turkey hunting for.
Do y'all find yourself getting antsy if it's been 2 or 3, 4 days since you've been out either in the woods or on the water, kind of pacing around, and your wife's like, just get out there, just go. Get in the woods.
There's something, we're bound to it, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's just in our spirits.
Yeah, it's just like a magnet just pulling you towards it. Yeah.
I know my wife's like, don't you got somewhere to be, I mean, we've been gone. We've been used to being deployed, on that
Yeah.
cycle, right? Gone home, and when we're home, we're training. So you're really just always gone.
Yeah.
And now that we're all transitioned, with the exception of Justin, it's like we need to scratch that itch and get
that
outdoors. And my
outlet.
wife's like,
Yeah.
you need to go.
Yeah, that's similar to like backcountry drones. Like a lot of guys, they do drone photography like in the city. Like I will hike a freaking mountain with my drone just to find a reason to get outside.
Yeah,
and I'll just go fly it, and that's to go do whatever I got to do. And same thing with archery. Like I have to be outside.
you got to find a reason to
Gotta
do
be
it.
outside, so.
Yeah, we totally get it. So, Jesse, you said you've been turkey hunting 18 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Jesse, you said 5, or Justin,
5 years.
you said
Yeah,
5 years, and
this old guy taught me.
he's been.
Yeah.
So you got some miles under under your
yes.
belt.
Like I
chasing
said, I was,
turkeys that long.
I was telling you, I started in Louisiana. Met a few guys that were into turkey hunting. Sort of got into it then, and I moved up to Idaho. Chased Merriams all over the mountains over there. It's really hard
So
hunting.
you hunted all species that you can here in the States.
Yeah, except for the Goulds. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, the one in New Mexico, New Mexico, or
Arizona. Yeah, I think right there on the. Yeah.
But yeah, tromped around in Louisiana, shot an Eastern over there. Went to Florida recently, a couple of years ago, shot an Osceola over there, and Rios are by far my favorite, especially
Rios
around
are?
here. Yeah.
What makes Rios your favorite?
Just I guess the activeness, especially right now, they're real hot. Just hearing that gobble, and they gobble a lot. They're very active gobblers. The Easterns are too, but Rios, out of all the subspecies, are definitely like the most vocal.
Yeah, most vocal. I've hunted quite a few, more Easterns than anything, but shot a few Rios and some hybrids. Like this dude right here was a hybrid.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah, that was. There's a story behind that turkey, but we won't. We might get into that
So
later.
when did you get into turkey hunting? What state?
So Oklahoma is where I first started doing some turkey hunting, and back when I was from middle school to high school, anytime that we had like a field trip, a school field trip, me and my friends we ditched the school field trip, and there was always one in the spring, and it was always in turkey season, and we ditched that and just go turkey hunting. So it kind of started back then, and then we were talking about it once you get into service in the Army, like you get drawn away from it. You can't always do it. So I went a long time without doing it, got back into it. And I guess if I said total years, maybe 10 to 12 years total that
Wow.
I've
Yeah.
hunted turkeys. But yeah,
That's awesome, man.
it's
Yeah.
been a fun time. Well, you said Rios are your favorite, but I mean, I guess it's probably a dumb question. Osceolas are probably
being
the
from
toughest.
Texas. I guess Rios are just true to my heart.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Each subspecies is very special in their own kind of way. For us, this is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
We know how Rios work the most, and we know how they act. So I guess chasing them is more fun for us because we know how they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
They like to make you miserable. And I think we're attracted to like misery somehow. Because like, what was the other day? We didn't even have to walk as far
No,
as we
we
did,
didn't.
but we ended up walking like 5 miles
Yeah.
for no reason. But we just know because that's what they do. They walk a lot. They move a lot.
Constantly moving.
So you have to be
Rios
moving.
do travel. A
You'll
lot.
sit down, start calling that bird, and you're like, all right, I sat down. He's going to come through that lane.
Yeah.
Like I sit here to draw him
Yeah.
through that lane,
Yeah.
and then he gobbles right here behind your
Yeah,
head.
like the other night, like we walked like literally 4 or 5 miles, and we ended up back at the trucks, and then he gobbled not even a quarter mile
Right.
away.
Yeah,
from the
he
other
sounded
direction.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah,
We were out. We did that coon tournament last weekend.
oh, yeah.
We want to get out turkey hunt, but we went out and we had a team name that we pushed. We thought it was the coolest. So we felt like little kids, like junior highs about it, talking about our team name, the Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah.
Bro, we hyped that thing. We hyped that up so much, and
dude.
we were so pumped about it. I mean, with every good intention behind it, we went out there with every intention of doing well on this tournament. I mean, placing or weighing in with a formidable
Placing at least something,
stringer, something. But what happened?
we become the midnight mishaps. Is what
That's what
happened.
exactly what we were.
No, no.
We ended up with a lot of breakdowns, and man, anything that could go wrong, it just went wrong.
That's
But
terrible.
yeah, that took us away from opening weekend for
But-
that. But it was still a great time. It was fun.
But
was good.
what did we bump into while we were
So,
out there?
Yeah, while we were out there, and it was funny. I kind of felt stupid because I pride myself not like as a turkey expert, but I can hunt some turkeys. You know, I'm all right. And so we're out there calling coons in before dark, and we get a shot gobble from our caller, from a gobbler, and that his first call was probably about 500 yards away. He's pretty good ways out there.
Yeah.
And it was about 30 minutes before dark. And I was like, that bird ain't coming in, you know, that bird. Well, we started turkey calling, you know, we started calling him, and he just started just hammering and hammering and hammering. I was like, that bird ain't coming in. It's 30 minutes before dark. Unless he's roosting right here, that bird ain't coming.
Yeah.
Well, about 5 minutes later, we were like, oh, shit, he's right there. That bird come all the way in right before dark, yeah. And, yeah, man, but just that was the first gobble I heard all year. But, man, my heart, you know,
Yeah.
we couldn't take the bird. We're out there with 22s and thermals, so we
Yeah.
can't take the bird, you know. But,
There's something special about that gobble.
oh, man, it will.
I live for that gobble every spring. It's
So that first gobble.
yeah.
First gobble of springs, it's different than the gobbles you hear in the fall time. 'Cause
Yeah,
you will hear
it
'em.
definitely had the old heart pumping, that's
Yeah.
for sure. It felt really good, and it was just cool to be there and see it unfold.
Yeah.
I'm not a turkey hunter, man. I want to get into it, and Jimmy's been trying to talk a lot to me about it and introduce it to me, and I can't wait to get out there. But I'll tell you what, for never being a turkey hunter and hearing my first gobble and then getting that close and then walking it in and hearing the language go back and forth, that was pretty cool, man.
Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It is a language, and I think y'all will probably contest to that. Maybe talk a little deeper about it. But
Yep.
yeah, it was just fun to get out there. You know, springtime, everything turns into a gobble. Every noise you hear out in the wood is a gobble.
great.
You'll hear a squirrel barking at you, and you're like, oh shit, a gobble over there.
Yeah.
So let's talk some turkey hunting then. I mean, I guess. So say if somebody's wanting to get into turkey hunting, just to give it a shot, what do you guys feel is some bare bones equipment that they should get?
Oh, here we
I'd
go.
invest in a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one of the three.
Woodhaven. No.
Woodhaven's
No,
great.
that's just my favorite.
That's what I use too.
Oh, do you?
But you know, I also carry a slate that a friend made for me.
Yeah.
I like a wide repertoire
Yeah.
of calls because you never know what a gobbler's going to gobble to. But yeah, Woodhaven, pick one call and just focus on that call and how to get real good at it, and just try to mimic what a hen sounds like.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried the beer can call?
Oh, yeah. That's a good. Have you heard of the beer can call?
No, but I can sort of picture what you're about
All
to
right,
say.
let me break this down because I'm the local expert of beer cans.
I called BS on this, and then he showed me, and I was like, all right, man.
All right, so it only works with Lone Star Light. You got to drink a Lone Star Light till it's empty. Then you take the can and you cut it in half.
Okay.
All right? You want the bottom half of it hollow. All right? You take the bottom of the can and you got to scrape it, kind of rough it up.
Just
and-
like a pot call.
you know?
Just yeah.
And then you got to take like a stick from the ground, and
Just like a
it
stripe.
sounds
Like an
crazy.
aluminum,
It sounds crazy.
pot
Yeah.
call.
So
It's
you're
aluminum
you're
pot
just
call.
rubbing it until it gets that friction. And I'll be damned, I should go get one and start making the call here. But you start hearing that yelp, and you kind of got it going, and then it just kind of does it. Now, you could say that.
That turkey's got to be 100 feet from you, or it ain't gonna hear you.
Yeah, but I think it's cool that somebody can make a primitive call with damn near a can you find out in the woods.
Yeah, it is cool.
They use there's some pretty basic calls out there. They got that the push button one.
Yeah.
There's a real basic one that Tom showed me. It's just a piece of wood, and it's sort of carved out, and then you have this other wedge-looking thing, and you just scrape it.
I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty cool.
It's like
looking.
friction, huh?
Yeah, it's just a friction call.
That's all
it
it
is.
There's all sorts of ways. As long as you're making some type of friction sound that's real high pitched, I think you'd be fine with that beer can call. I think you should run it.
Yeah, it's fun to. It's fun. It's kind of like what am I trying to say? Like
It's a challenge.
a trick
Yeah.
that you can show somebody. Be like, let me show you how to do it, young
Parlor trick.
old son.
chug that beer. And
Yeah.
watch this.
There you go. But
So we go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, like, do you have a particular call? Is there a time, or this is gonna be a whole bunch of questions, so let me slow it down and let me back up.
Okay.
What call do you go to that is more versatile so that it works for distance, it works for, having your hands free, all those things?
Ooh.
Personally, I think everybody's going to have their own opinion on that. But if I could take one call, it's going to be a diaphragm.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
And that's a mouth call, correct?
Mouth call, yeah.
mouth call, yeah.
The only reason is because you get to hold your shotgun the entire time. It limits all the movement, which turkey have incredible eyesight. So all that's behind that mask that you're wearing, and you can just run it. You can make it loud. You can make it soft. It's just easy to manipulate.
Man, we can go. It's going to get deep, man, because I am not a turkey hunter, but I am a student of the game. Just because I don't get out there and do it.
Well, we got to get out there. We'll get out there. We got to this year. But
Yeah,
It's an
absolutely.
art.
But
It's definitely an art.
But I will tell you that I've done a lot of studying. I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of YouTubing. I've done a lot of watching you guys. I've done a lot of asking Jimmy. And with all that, you said some things already that for the guy who's never turkey hunted, you've already said some key terms that I don't think it's like I want to stomp my foot 3 times and get the people in the back to hear it. Eyesight, sharp
Yeah.
vision.
Well,
Turkeys.
you got the first item you need right now, and that's that Bottomlands hat you're wearing.
This hat right here does it all for me. But I'll tell you, I have been turkey hunting, and I got on some turkeys, and I got excited, and I moved too quick. I spooked the turkeys.
Yeah.
So it's not that was my introduction to how good their eyesight is. Being a deer hunter, I got away with a little bit more movement, slow, being methodical on breakup and all that stuff behind me, and my movement to stay within my what am I trying to say? Like my silhouette.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing something where I could kind of slowly move my hand. Brother, I learned that the turkey is not the same. So you mentioned, eyesight. You talked about a mask.
Mm-hmm.
All those things, gloves. They see all that.
So if you were to be wearing red, white, or blue, you'll be invisible to turkeys.
Is that right?
Yeah, they won't see nothing. They won't see.
That's
no.
yeah, absolutely. An American flag shirt is what you need to wear. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Those colors are kind of like,
So
don't wear any of those.
You're leading me astray, is what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to set you up for success.
All right.
Don't ever believe a turkey hunter, all right?
All right.
But
So-
I would definitely say, there's so many things that you have to take into consideration. And I think that all starts with education, just like you said. Learning about what your opponent is. What does your opponent have that you need to overcome? And that's where studying, watching YouTube, asking questions.
And listening.
And,
it's part of that
watching,
studying,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Scouting, watching the birds do their thing and see how they act and all that stuff.
Listening to the sounds they make when they make that motion or that, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like I'm a duck hunter, and I know that there's calls that they have for feeding, that there's calls they have for, you don't want to make those calls. If the birds are flying over, you want to make a flyback call because they're passing you. You don't want to do all those. So there's things in turkey language that you can kind of say, I would tell you as a seasoned hunter that you're kind of doing it wrong.
So with that too, Jesse, all right, so calls being the number one,
Yeah.
with that call, what would be the most basic call that somebody could, if they're gonna get before they hit the woods, what should they at least get down?
The yelp.
The yelp, right?
You got to get that yelp down because it's all about that cadence
Yep.
and the frequency. And you'll figure that out as you sort of learn whichever call that you're trying to learn. You start off the diaphragm. How long did that take you to conquer, I guess?
It took me almost to my grave, like you said, like almost until my wife was ready to just literally, for years, I just used a pot call or a box call.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like you said, it takes a while. It took a long time, especially to not even gag. You put it in the mouth.
Yeah.
He still sounds like a dying cat, but I won't.
Yeah. I didn't get my wood avens this year, so I'm running some like crap from Academy, which I mean they're still good. It's just they're harder to break in. But the diaphragm call, I mean, I think it's something that takes you years to really perfect.
Yeah,
'cause
I sound like a dying seal.
Yeah. So like the different reeds, the different cuts on those reeds, they all matter, and it matters like how much air you're pushing over them. And there's so much science behind it, and when you see them make it, you're like, that's it. Like, but there is a science behind using them, and like I've seen these national turkey call competitions like at
Amazing.
in Pennsylvania, and seeing these guys like they've been doing it for decades, and they like you'd think there was turkeys in that hall. Like,
Yeah,
so
some of those guys are good.
Yeah.
Man, y'all. And I tell you, it's not like a bicycle too. It goes away. I didn't turkey hunt for a couple of years, and I cannot call near as good as I could a couple of years ago.
Now, I gotta trim the mouth call too to get it in the roof of my mouth, or else it's gagging me. I mean, there's a lot of things you gotta learn.
Yeah,
You'll figure out which one you run the best,
Right.
which cut you like the best. It just takes time and it takes practice. I've been practicing mouth call for a long time.
Let's talk about that real quick. So how bad do you drive your wife crazy practicing your call at home? Are you just driving around town with a call in your mouth, kind of sharpening your tools?
Well, I think that's one of the first rules I taught Justin is like, hey, man, don't call in your house. You'll drive everyone crazy.
Yeah.
Just put them in your truck and drive around.
There you go.
I do it anyways.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she dealt with it for a couple of years at first, but I learned the hard way.
I did too. I think the worst, my wife was working a night shift at the time.
Yeah.
It would be day, and I would think I was outside or on the other end of the house. She wouldn't hear me. Oof. The cussing you would get for that one.
Yeah.
I mainly do it in the truck now.
Well, that's where I learned, just driving around. I had the Mastering the Art of Turkey talk or something. It was some Primos CD.
Yeah.
Will Primos and,
Yeah.
and Troy Ruiz,
Yeah.
a couple other guys, and I would listen to that thing all the time.
But it's fun too.
And I would just practice.
It's like singing a song. You know, the song comes on the radio. You're gonna put that call in, and you're just gonna match them, just like you're singing.
And that's why I think it's important to start there, because once you get that framework down of the calling, everything else sort of comes with it. Everybody knows that you wear camouflage in the woods. And then it comes, you got to get your gun and all that stuff, and you got a pattern. And there's a whole lot of steps of the right way.
The right way,
And there's a lot of ways to do it the wrong way, too.
How often do you guys pattern your shotgun? Do you do that? I'm talking shotgun only here. I'm saying as if you hunt shotgun, but that would be how I go about it. I'll probably eventually try to take one with a bow, but if you're shotgun hunting, you got to pattern your shot, don't you?
Yeah, you do. It's one of the things I tell kids when I'm teaching them hunter's ed, especially around this time, because you'll know that they're trying to get their hunter's ed card before turkey season. And I stress to them, like, I'll have the turkey target out and the turkey decoy out, and I'll just show them, like, hey, this is what your pattern needs to look like, and don't you walk into the woods until you pattern your gun. Because whether you're running just a standard shotgun barrel or if you're putting a choke on it, once you put a choke on it, then your entire pattern changes depending on the distance. So there's that whole education piece. If you don't understand chokes on your shotguns, you really need a pattern. You have to pattern because you will shoot a bird, or you shoot a bird in the wrong location, or shoot over it. Done that.
And patterning in different distances, and then using your landmarks as distance markers and all that stuff to know where you're at, correct?
Yeah. It just like, here's a great example. I went out with a friend of mine this morning. He didn't hear anything in the morning this morning. Started raining in, but he stayed out there and he kept at it, and I had to leave. But later this afternoon, he got on some birds, but he shot at 40, and he didn't kill the animal, and he tried to shoot it again, and it ended up getting away. So the question is,
did he pattern?
How far was he able to effectively pattern.
Yeah, and
right?
that's when, just knowing that distance, you know, like it's just like bow hunting. You got to know your limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
And it don't try to surpass that limitation. We all get out there and get excited at times, you know. You might have been hunting hard for 3 days and seen 2 jakes, and then finally you get a long beard come in at 50, and
Right,
you're
yeah.
like, this is my one and only chance. But if
that-
you're not patterned for 50, don't shoot 50.
Right.
And that's like what I tell folks is like, don't leave your rangefinder in your truck. Take it out, especially if you're going to sit up and you know you got birds coming in. Like start ranging objects so you know, okay, when that bird passes that bush, I know he's at 35. I can take that shot comfortably. The other thing too is like you said, you got a bird hanging at 50. People are in a rush a lot. Like I can't tell you how many times I've seen people just completely miss out on an opportunity because a bird hung up at 50 and they thought, well, I got to take the shot now. Just wait, man.
Yeah,
like
just
that
be
bird,
patient.
that bird's just checking it out before he decides to keep coming because he's trying to look where you're coming from, where the hen's at.
And you'll see him pace back and forth sometimes almost
Yeah.
on,
Oh, sure.
on a string.
And you
almost,
could tell, like, it goes back to the whole art of this is you can see when that bird perches its wings up like it's getting ready to take off, or the snoot will even retract.
Yeah.
Those are things you can tell, like, okay, that bird's not coming. Maybe I can take the shot, or maybe I'll just wait, and see what happens. So it just goes back to, reading, experience, patience.
So the basics are pretty easy, though. You need a call, you need a shotgun or bow if you're going to be. But if you're starting off turkey hunting, start off with shotgun if you can. I would recommend, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got a call, shotgun, camo.
Yep.
Got to have that.
You gotta have camo.
Springtime, I would say probably have some rubber boots or waterproof boots for sure, at least.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Snake boots.
Yeah, snake
boots. Yeah, snake.
But
Camo to head to toe, leaf suit. If you can get one, they're pretty cheap now.
you can pretty much make it work with that right there. I mean,
What's your
there's some
go-to camo,
extras.
guys?
Well, I'm hoping to change y'all's mind here a little bit later. We'll
Talk
see.
to me.
No, I see. Yeah, I see you've been working on it.
It's just a little project, but we'll talk about that later. We're leaf suit guys during the spring.
Yep.
For sure.
Good.
I like leaf suit. He likes leaf suit. Hats, we sort of wear our own hats, just like you guys, I'm sure.
Face cover.
Good pants, lightweight pants here in Texas.
Yeah.
Something that can withstand all the brush and briar and
Yeah.
cedar. That kind of pant. It's
Some
poke the
chaps,
things.
some Carhartt chaps. That'll work.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get away from it all, but
Yeah.
some of it.
So what would you guys say some of the number one mistakes are? So for a new turkey hunter going out, and if you're going out, what would you say? Don't do this. I know for me, I would say don't call as much as you think you need to. That would be my number one. What would y'all be?
I mean, you already took it, man. So overcalling, like that happens in preseason a lot. Like, and I will not call at all in the preseason. I listen in the preseason,
Yeah.
and I won't call unless I'm like, I want to go shoot that bird.
And do you believe like you're educating the bird on the calls and all that? Is it?
100%. I have
If you're
turkeys.
working the same pre-scouting,
yeah.
the same bird over and over, and you're calling at the bird.
Yeah.
And your cadence and all that stuff, it's pretty much they pick up on that, correct?
They're not dumb.
Yeah.
As small as their brains are, they pick up stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
I had turkeys on my property,
Yeah.
pet turkeys, and they're not wild turkeys, but I used to mess with them with my mouth calls all the time, and they learn. They're just
Yeah.
like, okay, dude, we know who you are. Like,
I'll hit them with that Ric Flair just to get that shot.
Yeah.
I love that.
so
And that'll get them to roost, or is that something that you do, or am I giving away secrets?
Turkeys gobble at a certain frequency.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like him doing that high pitch
Sure.
woos.
Yeah.
It just shock gobbles makes them just get antsy and they gobble.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I witnessed it the other day for the first time, and it was shocking to me just to see instantaneous response. And to me, that told me either the bird is on alert, and I call it a bird. So y'all
That's
refer
what
to
we
it?
call
it.
Yeah. I'm a wing shooter, so you're gonna hear me say that a lot. But yeah, it was interesting to see that response, instant response, and then I started hearing the language. It was talking, and it was kind of getting closer, and you can hear it, and it was kind of doing its thing. It was really exciting, man.
That's what it's all about. That feeling right there.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Wait till you're sitting out there with a gun in your hand and
Yeah.
you got that bird coming in. But the worst feeling is when they're coming in from a half mile away and they hit about 80 yards in front of you and they won't come an inch closer, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man,
That happened to us the other day.
yeah, it happens. But like Justin was saying, a lot of people get a little antsy and excited, and they'll be like, oh, I'm shooting
will.
TSS, I'll send it.
Yeah. Well, they watch a lot of YouTube too, and they think, they watch these Michael Waddell and what Phil, and they're just, those guys have been hunting for years. And
Not
they
to
think-
mention-
they think that every time they call a bird in, a bird's going to come in. That is not the case at all. And people just get impatient and they want to shoot first, and then they get upset. Just normal. I mean, I was a victim of it myself. I missed one bird in my life, and I was, I think it was like my second year turkey hunting.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was very early on, and that's when I learned, like,
It was
all
a year
man,
after, yeah.
patience.
You guys watch any Shane Simpson on YouTube?
I know who Shane Simpson is. Yeah.
Shane Simpson.
He's a really good turkey hunter.
real good turkey hunter.
He makes really good turkey calls too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking. I think he works with Woodhaven some too. Was it
Does he?
Woodhaven or Hooks?
I think it's hooks.
Hooks, yeah.
Maybe.
I do have a Hooks pot call. But for anybody that's new getting into turkey season or turkey hunting that I know, and they're like, hey, just what can you tell me? And I say, what's Shane Simpson? That's what I tell them.
Yeah, he's a good mentor. He makes a lot of really great videos. I like old Philip Culpepper.
Oh, man.
I'm a big fan of Philip
Yeah.
Culpepper.
Yeah.
I like the way he hunts. He helps a lot of people throughout turkey season too. So, I guess back to that question that you said, like number one thing that someone can work on if they're getting into turkey hunting is just patience.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
true.
stay put. If you had him gobbling, now he's not gobbling to anything. Just stay there. If you feel like you want to get up, just wait 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
Because he might come in there, So patience, right?
He might be on the move when he's quiet,
That's
being
right.
quiet. Yeah.
So that's a key takeaway. Out of all my years, don't ever swing shoot unless you're real good at it. I've missed lots of birds because I'm not a good swing shooter. I don't practice skeet. I'm not a duck hunter that much.
Yeah, me neither.
So try not to do that too much either.
I guess with patience too, it kind of goes back to the gear thing, right? What would you recommend for first time turkey hunting? You're going to be out there sitting on the ground a lot, so invest in a good seat,
Yeah.
or a good turkey vest, something that will support your back, kind of keep you there for a couple hours.
Keep your butt dry.
You keep your butt
yeah.
dry, things like that. So I mean, you perform better when you're comfortable, and you're more willing to be more patient if you got something comfortable to
That's a good
rest
point.
up against.
Yeah,
Confidence
true.
comes with that comfort too, and being confident is one of the most important thing about,
Yeah.
holding a weapon in your hand, so.
Having a plan
Yeah.
is real important during turkey season too. It's okay if you do what we call running and gunning, but
Yeah.
you have to have a little bit of experience or be with somebody that knows what they're doing if you're going to do that kind of activity. I wouldn't recommend it for a new turkey hunter unless you're with an experienced turkey hunter.
And then the place you're hunting makes a huge difference if you're running and gunning too.
Yeah.
Because if you're
Yeah.
on public or you're on a place where there's more hunters, you kind of blowing other people out. So
That's
got to
true.
think about that.
But yeah, turkey hunting is a little more. I'm not gonna say more forgiving than deer hunting, but did we lose it?
Oh, I got it back. I just working through some difficulties here. I don't know what's going on. Y'all go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for me, it's more common if I'm hunting on public land to run into folks.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people are gonna be moving a lot more than deer hunting and stuff a lot of the times, but a lot of times you can tell somebody's calls from a real turkey too, and you're like, I know
Yeah.
somebody's over there, so I'm gonna steer clear and go this way.
Yeah, I don't really run into a whole lot of people during spring turkey. I ran into Jorge just off of luck today.
Because I think we hunt similar to Jorge. Like,
Yeah.
we go on the places that you just, it just comes with experience level.
Yeah.
Like, we'll also, like I said, we'll walk. We'll go find birds and
Yeah.
places.
Take
with people.
snacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just go
same way.
sit under a tree somewhere and hope something gobbles.
Pack
Get a good
lunch.
nap in sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I missed a bird taking a nap one day. Same thing, just being patient. It was in Kansas, but there was a big ridge. I knew that there were some birds up on it, but it was in the. I couldn't get to the birds without them getting me, right? So I
Yeah.
just put some decoys out, and then I stayed back in like this briar patch, and I cut me a hole in it. I put my turkey vest down where I could lay back and take a nap in there. And I was like, those turkeys, they're going to see these decoys, and they'll come down at some point. Well, they did, but I'd laid all the way back and fell asleep. And I heard him just giving that decoy hell. It woke me up, and I was like, oh man, my gun's laying beside me, and I'm trying to look
no.
up, and I try to sit up, and I'm sitting there forever, and then my core just starts shaking, and I was like, I gotta try to miss. Yeah, bad shot. Should have never took it, but yeah, that was.
That's a good story. I got a good one. Have you heard the Eastern story? Did I tell you that one?
I don't know, probably.
So I've only shot one Eastern, and it was in Louisiana of all places, at Fort Polk. And I was out there. I was working this strip, and I had heard a gobbler, but I couldn't really locate where he was. So I went out that morning, and he was exactly where I thought, but he was a little bit deeper in. And I tried and tried and tried to get him to come in this big green, open strip. Having patience, right? I'm like, didn't have enough patience. So I hightailed it all the way around, came from behind him. And here he is. He's down in this bottom. I was just calling and calling and calling. Couldn't get him to come up. Finally, it was like 3 hours later. He was not budging whatsoever. It's like, you know what? I give up. He wins. I went to this little open area in the middle of the pines. I just sat, got comfortable just like you. Started watching some other videos that I made. And probably about an hour later, like 10 yards away.
Yeah. Oh shit! I'm
my
not
gosh.
ready.
I was like, oh. And I, exactly like you, I just like grabbed my shotgun. It was leaned up against a tree. Grabbed my shotgun. I'm like, oh. Came around that corner just a little bit, and there it is, and took him. But yeah, it's all about that patience, right?
But there's nothing like to me. There's no other hunting, no other style of hunting like turkey hunt. It's so interactive.
Yeah.
And when I was trying to get my son into, my son loves to fish, but he's not much into hunting. But when it comes to turkey hunting, he's all about it. It's just more interactive. He'll be out there playing with the call. You're moving a little more.
That's why when I got hooked on the turkey hunting, man, I kind of put deer hunting in the back seat because it's just fun.
Yeah.
People, I think the only other type of hunting you can do similar to that is elk hunting, when you're interacting with an elk. But other than that, like turkey are just much more talkative, especially the Rios, and it's fun. Like even my kid, man, he doesn't really hunt that much.
Yeah.
And he loves messing with the turkey calls. He loves hearing the turkeys gobble. It's just, I just love it. It's great.
So let's talk about different habitat. If you're going out to hunt turkeys, what is it that when you go out, are you doing some, I guess cyber scouting first, or you just picking a spot, hitting the ground and calling and listening, or are you just listening only? What are your guys' tactics for that?
Like I said, I've been hunting here for a while now, so I know where the turkey are for the most part. But that doesn't mean they're always going to roost in those same trees.
Yeah.
So you always got to verify your spots, your areas, because something could have happened. A flood came through, or there's higher predation there.
So when you say verify, though, what you
Going out, listening,
roosting them at night, or just going out and
you can roost them in the fall, you can roost them in the spring.
Yeah.
Turkey do the same thing year round.
Yep.
This fall, they just don't talk as much. But I verify everything. I got my pins just like everybody else, and I go out and I'll listen. I'll sit in my truck and just roll the windows down and wait. And you'll hear something, when they fly up or fly down, or even in the fall, like you'll hear them gobble once or twice.
yeah, couple, yeah.
So
Every once in a
that's typically what I do. A lot of e-scouting prior, and then also we're just in the woods a lot. So even in the fall, I know where the turkey are. I know where they're feeding. I know where they're nesting.
Yeah.
So if you go to a new area, though, what are you looking for? Like what kind of habitat? What kind of
water?
Water.
I'm looking for water.
I look for large trees.
Yeah, mature
like
trees.
Roost trees.
Yeah.
They seem to prefer like the more dead trees, I guess, the more open.
Oh, yeah.
More dead limbs.
Creeks, definitely creeks. They do like the green. When the green up happens, that's a great place to find turkey.
Yeah.
Right in the early spring. They love those little spots because that's where all the bugs are.
Field edges.
Yeah, lots of field edges.
Yeah, you see them a lot like deer. I mean, they love transition areas too.
Yep.
Yeah. It's. I mean, they're.
Yeah, they'll follow trails. Like you said, the big trees, typically you'll find there's water in the soil there, so the bigger trees grow. And that's typically where I start. And that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to roost there, but but they're definitely going to be there because they need water.
Close. I'm with you too. I always look both water and the high tree. But if you can find a big old dead like cottonwood or something on a cliffside of a
there's
creek,
turkeys in it.
yeah, you're just like, oh man, that looks like turkey place.
Yeah.
There.
I have found turkey in some very odd places though as well, and I think it does come down to like what time it is and where they're at. And if there's a coyote nearby or something, maybe they got spooked up into the tree. I've found them in cedar trees. I've found them in some weird locations.
I hadn't,
You're like,
I hadn't
"What?"
found any cedar trees.
And
Yeah,
you're like, why are they there?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But you got to think there's probably a million other factors that can. go
Yeah,
into that.
sure.
Yeah.
I've actually watched like jakes get back to the roost site too late, and then they just roost anywhere they can before it starts.
Get off the ground.
Yeah,
Get off the ground.
And I've seen them up in cedars. I've seen them like on high like cliff rocks, and then they're just like, okay, where do I go now? You know.
Yeah.
So I'm a new hunter now. I got my calls, I got my camo, my shotgun.
All right.
I found me a nice little, we'll say it's a ridge up here, a wooded ridge with some roost trees, creek below it, and ag at the bottom of that. Ag at the bottom of that field, or at the bottom of that creek on the other side. Where are you going to set up at?
You know, thinking about, have we done any scouting yet? Do we know where the birds are? You know, that's the key questions that I'm going to ask a new hunter. Have you done your homework yet?
Yeah.
If you say, yeah, I know where they're at, then I'm going to take this into consideration. I'm going to see where all these trees are. I'm going to try to go out and roost that bird that night so I can sort of get a good idea of where he might fly down to. And most likely it's going to be that large open area that is right on that field edge where all those big cottonwoods are or the elms are. He's going to fly down probably around 75 yards. So you don't want to set up any closer than that. He might fly right over you. Ain't that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Must
that's
be a
true.
story
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. That
We
bird-
did have that happen, but we thought we were a little further away from him, and that bird just flew right over us, and he flew right into that big open area that he could locate from that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there hens down there already by chance, or did?
No, we were
No
the
hens.
hens. We were the hens that morning, but he came back. He flew over us. I mean, he was like 10 feet over our heads.
He could have taken him, but
Yeah.
we let him walk.
Yeah, he came back around because we were calling, and as soon as I got a beat on him, I saw that beard, and I was like, all right, he's almost a tom, but he ain't a tom yet.
Yeah.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on turkey numbers? So, turkey numbers here where we are in Bell County, they're pretty good, but in some of the surrounding counties, they're falling quickly. I mean, Milam County, where we are, it's a no hunt zone this year. That county, or it's a no hunt county, turkey hunt. So, what do y'all think are some of the the reasons of that population decline in the surrounding counties?
Loss of habitat.
Yeah, habitat loss, or that urban sprawl, right? Takes away all that stuff. Resources, water. There's probably a lot more fire ants out there too, I bet.
Yeah.
There's a lot more invasive species that turkey can't really thrive in that habitat that they're trying to get them to thrive at. So how do you control the insect population that affect the eggs? How do you control the predators? How do you control American crows, which is a big predator of eggs? I mean, there's a whole ton of stuff that they'd have to do to get those numbers up, right?
Yeah, that's something we're dealing with and trying to work
Yeah.
through some issues right now too, and that's why I was like, I want to bring it up and ask you guys. But
Food plots.
I think pigs are a big issue in the
Oh,
area
yeah.
too. Pigs,
are.
coons, skunks, possum. I mean, predators to me, I think are one. But loss
Yeah.
of habitat is that has to be number one.
I think so.
I think it's loss of habitat. The couple of years of drought we've had,
Yeah,
so that's caused
Dwindled
birds. That's
numbers.
also
Yeah.
caused birds to move out of areas to go find water too.
that is true. Yeah,
And then lack of new hunters in the woods. That's a huge problem right now that we're seeing at Texas parks for hunter education. Is during COVID, we had a bunch of people in the woods. Tons of people want to learn how to hunt and fish, and then once we all got back to work and out, back home and back to the office, those numbers have died down. And so a lot of folks, nobody's out there shooting the hogs all the time. Nobody's out there shooting the coyotes all the time. So is it one of the main reasons? I don't know, but that's just what I've seen from the data that I've read. We're losing numbers all the time, or numbers of hunters every time.
Well, there used to be an eastern population in Texas too, and they're
Yeah.
really trying to restore that. But it just seems like the habitat is not conducive to breeding in the nesting that the hens absolutely require. So they're moving out of those areas to find better spots.
Yeah.
Sometimes miles and miles and miles. So
Even Northeast Texas. And so that's something that I think you're right about Rios being a more resilient, hardy bird than what Easterns are. In Northeast Texas, Southeast Oklahoma, they got a mixture of both Rios and Easterns. But the Eastern population, quick decline. So you can't even hunt the Easterns anymore. You can only hunt the Rios.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they can maintain in that same habitat, but why are the Easterns, declining and the Rios are gaining,
I don't know.
in population? It's, yeah, exactly.
Genetic
It's-
thing, I guess.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
I'm super curious if
Yeah.
they'll ever figure that out, because I'm wondering that's where I grew up cutting my teeth shooting Easterns
Sure.
there, yeah.
Well, I hope they make a comeback. That's probably one of the more important things to a turkey hunter, like all of us, is the conservation side of the house.
Yeah.
And just making sure that there's going to be turkey for my daughter and maybe her kids and things like that.
And that's something that we try to make apparent on here a lot as we talk about that, because a lot of general public, they think hunters, anybody that hunts, they're just out to kill animals, and they don't understand we're the biggest conservationists out there. That is, we want that population to maintain, be healthy, and thrive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's a man. It can.
But
it gets
turkey
deep.
hunting, I mean, how many birds have you been blessed to take?
I don't have a number. I don't know. But if I
Yeah.
had to guess, probably somewhere between 20 and 30.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's where that experience comes into play, and I hope sharing that knowledge with everybody else along your journey, that makes it all worth it. And that's how we are too. I'm still trying to pump his numbers up, but I'm
Yeah.
about the same.
I average about one a year. I didn't shoot one last year. What were we doing last year?
I think you were gone.
I don't know. Oh, my company kind of took off, and I was on the road a lot, so that was that. But yeah, this year's I'm back on the board this year. Hopefully, we'll see.
So what do y'all got planned for the future?
Oh, great question.
Future of turkey hunting.
Future turkey hunting. So this week I've been really focused on just putting people in front of birds or in the same area. Done okay.
So
so
you're
far.
doing a lot of guiding with the
Yeah, just a lot of
mentoring,
mentoring, right?
Yeah,
just
mentoring.
people ask me for help, and
Yeah.
I try to. I wish I could help everybody. I just don't have enough time, and I got to make some time for myself and my buddies and things like that. But that's been the goal this week, is just to try to get people out in the woods and grow the audience of Fort Cavazos turkey
Yeah.
hunters, because conservation is important,
It is.
and that program needs people's help to maintain itself. So
Yeah.
that's why we try to advocate for that. I think I'm going to try to go to San Antonio on the 12th and hunt with my boy Joel Hernandez, who's got a lead on some really good birds, and we're all competing against each other, minus this guy. But hopefully I'll get one down. We'll see. I'm not in a rush. I'm waiting on spring cleanup to happen and all those cagey smart birds.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting on. Yeah. That's my near-term plan. How about you?
Yeah, I drew a tag in Kansas this year. I drew one last year. I couldn't make it up there. I'm really trying to get up there for a weekend to go hunt up there. I got some buddies up there too.
You have to. That is like.
Yeah,
You have to.
yeah. And
What
they're-
part
I
of
wanna go
Kansas?
too.
Oh well, I forget the zone number, but basically Fort Riley.
Oh.
Fort Riley's got some great hunting
Five.
up there. And
I'll send you a lot of birds.
Oh.
yeah,
As soon as it's over, I'll drop you some
Yeah.
secrets.
Oh.
I really want to get up there and hunt. And then I've been toying around with the idea of hunting East Texas somewhere if it's even available, because I got a couple archery tournaments out there I'm shooting in. I think it'd be cool to go up there a day prior and try to get one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. But as far as the future goes, like, fortunately, Fort Cavazos does not have a turkey population problem.
Yeah.
According to,
Which is crazy. 40
Yeah.
miles down the road, you're hard pressed to find a turkey.
well, I mean, they have a dedicated team of biologists, and regardless of what anybody thinks about the program, like their job is to maintain that habitat.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, because
Yeah.
they don't get enough credit.
Oh yeah,
No, they're great.
Yeah, yeah.
We
eagle.
know they're great.
Yeah, so they've done a good job, and I've talked to them after they do their they do hog hunts or a hog eradication via helicopter, and one of the biologists was like, dude, there are so many turkey on this base. He's like, please take people out.
Yeah.
They're like, 'cause the other worry was avian flu this year, right? So that was like, okay, we definitely need to hunt these things and encourage turkey hunters to get out here and hunt in the program.
See, Ben, we got to get out there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So people are out there getting it done. I mean, there's already 2 areas shot out, which is great. And I'm looking forward to, fortunately the floods were great last year, as devastating as they were for some people. The creeks got back up.
Did good things for the habitat.
The habitat, it's
It's-
got water.
We're
There's
getting off to a
moisture.
good start this year, too.
This year is
think
real good. We had
It's
great-
super green out
good.
there.
super
Everything
green.
is
Yeah.
green
Yeah.
right now.
So
It was
and
crunchy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 4 days passed and it got better.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bugs are getting bigger. My chickens are freaking loving it. There's
Yeah,
insects
getting
on the
fat.
ground. Yeah, they're getting huge. Getting ready to cull some of them, and then I think it's the future for turkey in this area is looking bright. I just hope we can keep it that way, just
Yeah.
through conservation practices. Taking it easy on the younger birds and just kind of going after those mature birds a little more often. But yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. All right.
I wasn't going to let him leave here without talking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
He
that-
started a war on that.
I turned off the
baby.
commenting for that.
I think that's always a touchy subject. On any private land, or I'm sorry, any public land,
Yeah.
it's the same thing as shooting a 2-year-old buck, and people are like, let them grow. But
Yeah.
a Jake is a little bit different because they, their lifespan is not as long as a deer.
Right.
50%.
They mature a little bit faster. Just give a bird 2 years. Let that joker live for 2
Yeah.
years, right?
I know, right? Like, let him live out his teenage years at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're.
We teach this in hunter's ed. It's kind of like the philosophy of like you got different stages of a hunter. Right, the beginning stage of a hunter, you're just out there trying to hunt. You're trying to tag an animal, a legal, ethical kill, and getting it done. Which I tell folks all the time: when you're brand new turkey hunting, and you see a Jake, take them down.
Have fun.
Go-
yeah.
go
get
get
the
'em.
experience under your
You
belt.
take your kids out there, let them get the jakes. They're going to come right in anyways. Like, let the kids have at it. Get a couple jakes on your belt. Understand the woods a little bit better. Work on your woodsmanship, and then really start, because that's where the joy comes in. Going after those big mature birds, those experienced birds, and if you can outsmart those birds, man, the sense of accomplishment that you will have is just—it's like getting a big buck on the ground, an old
Yeah.
buck.
Yeah, you
more
got to
special.
outsmart them. They've lived
And
a while for a reason.
Yeah, and that final stage of a hunter, you're now a trophy hunter, and that term has been misconstrued for years. Like, oh, you're only hunting them for the spurs, you're hunting for the fan. It's like, no, I'm trophy hunting is me going after a bird that is smarter than
Quality,
most of
not
the bird.
quantity.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's that challenge you put yourself through mentally and physically to go after that big bird or that.
That's
big
what
buck.
made this bird special. Is that dude was a challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It took a whole season.
Those are the ones you want to put on the wall because they got a story, and that's what I tell folks. And I don't, if you want to tag out on jakes, be my guest, because in reality, most jakes have a 50% mortality rate
Yeah.
anyways. Coyote's going to get them, bigger bird's going to get them, something's going to get them.
Those long beards don't live a long time.
I do not.
Yeah.
So
By going in every call.
yeah. So do you? I will not judge you, and I encourage you to stay in the woods and keep hunting them. But I also, challenge yourself a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree, especially as a new hunter or youth. Taking kids out.
Yeah.
My son shot a couple jakes, and same thing. I'll go for it, bud. It's fun.
Yeah.
And a bearded hen.
Yeah.
But if you get a few under your belt, challenge yourself. 100% agree.
Yeah, go after that because you will see the difference. That Tom ain't gonna come running to you like the Jake
Yeah.
is. You got to go to him. You got to outsmart him, and that's really the accomplishment behind it. And that's where the memories are made, man. That's what it's about. Those memories, that time out there.
Absolutely.
Let them fly, Jesse. What's your
Oh,
thoughts?
geez.
Stop shooting on the Jake.
I don't have anything against, just like you guys, somebody tagging jakes. I just have, if it's a competition to see who can tag out first, and then it's just about killing something at that point.
Yeah.
I guess the longer you become the longer you are a turkey hunter, the more special bird you want it to be. And you want it to be challenging. You want it to be hard. Just like hunting a big buck that you've been after for 3 years. There's birds like that too. There are.
So there is birds like. How do you tell one turkey from another turkey?
You know, most of it's speculation, but there are some of those birds where they live and they have that gobble,
That's what.
or they have
Yeah.
a missing tail feather from their fan, or something about them that you're like, that's the one,
Yeah.
that's him.
They have that one identifying thing. That's why
Yeah.
that turkey. He had a real short, sharp gobble.
Yeah.
The only one around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you pegged him, right? You were like, man, I know where that bird
Yeah.
is because of that gobble. We did the same thing with paintbrush. We named a bird Paintbrush. He had a big old paintbrush
Yeah.
beard, and he had a very unique gobble. I'm like, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is, Justin. Let's go.
That bird ran us into the ground.
Yeah.
That made me question turkey hunting.
He was like, this is so dumb. What am I doing?
Yeah.
He got like from here to that tripod like 3 feet. We were just sitting there like, oh shit.
Grab him. Grab him. Grab him.
Yeah.
And then he turned around and walked away, and we didn't see him again for a couple days. And
That's the thrill of the hunt, though,
Yeah.
right there.
It's these stories that
Yeah.
are special, right?
Absolutely.
How many Jakes could you have shot waiting on that one bird?
Oh,
uh,
jeez.
a whole
I must have
freaking
called in 15
stringer.
Jakes last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, man, you really want to. And then you're like, they're going to be there next year, I hope.
But you got that bird.
Yeah,
And
he
it
did.
felt good,
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
We did.
shot him. It was about a 50-yard shot. It was a
TSS.
shot.
That's a shot.
I got it on video.
Knocked him
I'll
square
put
over.
the link in the comments later. But
That'll be cool, man.
It
Yeah.
was he dropped him. I mean, he
So
flipped
I have a
backwards. and-
Browning 12 gauge BPS,
Yeah.
and it's just a turkey gun. And that thing it can reach out and touch something for sure.
With the right choke, you're going to be on them.
Yeah.
Well, he had his new red dot on there, so
There
he
you
thought
go.
he
I
was
was pretty
freaking-
confident
He thought
that
he was
day.
Chris Kyle out here with a shotgun. So
I
when he
feel
made
like it
yeah.
sometimes.
when he made that
Yeah.
shot, I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like
You
I
said
was
he was
sort of
how,
surprised too.
Proof is in the pudding.
You said he was how far?
He's like
50,
55, 60
Okay.
yards.
Yeah.
we
That's
measured
outside
it.
my range.
I was
man.
like, yeah, I think I can get him.
Yeah.
I ain't playing this game anymore.
Yeah, we
Stretching it.
were. We were.
we were smoked. We've been chasing that dude for 3 days at that point.
Yeah. that
Like
was
all day.
Yeah.
We'd meet out there in the morning, just circles.
not eating, not
Yeah.
sleeping. Yeah.
But that's what it just makes it worth it, though.
Y'all see any technology that's coming around nowadays that will kind of improve the turkey hunting world out there, or
We tell people about Scott Ellis's app called Turkey Tech,
okay?
Yeah.
and it's actually really good. He's a world champion NWTF caller, works for Woodhaven, and he is a phenomenal caller. I think he's probably one of the best guys I've ever heard. But he made an app specifically to help people refine their turkey calling skills. You can download it. You can play it on repeat.
You said it's where can you find it?
It's just an app. It's called Turkey Tech
Turkey Tech.
by Scott Ellis. Scott Ellis. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
it's on the App Store. I think
Nice.
it's on
Yeah.
Android
Yeah.
too.
It's really cool.
But
Nice.
you can play his video talking about the call, or you can just play the audio from it, and then he'll play his audio of him making the call, and then he'll play the audio of the actual turkey doing the call.
Wow.
So you can
Yeah.
compare it, and then you can record yourself doing the call and compare your recording to their recording. So you can
That's
really-
that's what I was
Totally
going to
terrible.
ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. and
See
you-
if you're in that range of frequency and all that.
and then you're like, man, I really suck.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, tumbling.
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, we talked a lot about turkey hunting. You guys are the right people to talk that. But what else do you guys got going on, and where can people find you on social media, your videos, and all that stuff? Because I know I follow you guys. I want everybody else that is watching this to follow you guys.
Well, we have a website, www.onemissionoutdoors.com. It's with the actual number one. And we have a whole bunch of different stuff happening on that website. We're not quite there with a couple things, but we have the nonprofit archery range here in town in Killeen. And then we have the social media team that is the field team. And that's,
Great looking website, by the way.
Thank you. It's a lot of work, but so those are the two things that we're
Game
working
respects game.
on. I'm working on some camo thing. I'm still molding that, but I'm getting pretty decent
Yeah.
at it. And you guys will see the hoodies after this. But and then
We've been
Justin,
following your patterns, and I got to say we're impressed. We are excited. We're on the edge of our seats waiting to see what comes out.
That's great. I really appreciate it. I've always enjoyed art. I always enjoyed graphic design, and that's sort of where all that stuff came into play. And I just wanted to help our brand and like our archery range and whoever else I can help. That's just an outlet that we can all come together and push information.
Yeah.
Just like you guys.
Talk a little bit about that archery range.
So, man, we had how did it got started? So Jesse was originally hunting this little plot of land off of
Yeah.
195, just bow hunting, and we won't talk about the buck. But
Now, given this property is about 140 yards wide,
Oh, wow.
it's super
Okay.
narrow.
so if you're bow hunting and you hit a buck,
You better know
what do
you're
you think might happen?
Yeah, it's going to cross the
It's
fence.
probably
somewhere.
going to jump a fence.
Yeah.
Anyway, we
or-
won't go there.
Or you just make a better shot.
Or
So
just
which
make a better shot.
which makes which brings us to there some time had passed. Like I got super busy with my company, and then we were talking about just letting the land go and telling the landowner like, hey, thanks. And then like I was driving back home from PT, and I was like, no way, dude. Like we're only paying like a few $100 a month for this thing, so let's he had talked about doing an archery range before, and like we just kind of kicked the can around and didn't really take it seriously until I don't know, just one day I was like, we can't let this land go, like,
Yeah.
because they weren't going to do anything with it. It was overgrown. It was
Yeah.
just a mess, and so I was like, let's get the lawnmower out here, some weed whackers, and see what we can do. And,
Had a vision.
So
and
now
then-
at this point, I had just retired from the Army too.
Yeah.
So the old infantry first sergeant's still kicking in my brain, right? I'm like, I can do little live fire lane here. you
Yeah.
know, but just with bows and arrows. I can teach people how to hunt.
Yeah.
And
Cadre style.
Yeah, like cadre style.
So what we originally did is we built a static range, basically just yardage targets. So from 20 to 60 yards, you can go out there, and we ordered like $3,000 worth of targets from Delta McKenzie, became dealers for them, and they support us pretty well, and then like the back end of the range where Jesse was originally hunting, we had the bright idea like, hey, a lot of these ranges around Central Texas, they're tournament based. They're
Yeah.
more ASA style. They do their club shoots. It's more tournament based. We wanted to create the only archery training facility in Central Texas. So not only is it a place where you can just stand and shoot, but it's also a place where you can climb a tree and shoot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or
Oh,
you can,
yeah.
I love that.
You can get into you can get a
Train as you fight.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can get into a tripod. We can put you in a tree stand. We're building a box blind with bow windows to put out there, so you can go up there. You can put a 3D target out there. You can bring your own target if you want, and you can just practice getting that elevation, and making good ethical shots going forward. We opened up just before bow season started last year, and the turnout was like shocking. Like, holy cow!
Good for you.
Yeah,
So then
that's-
everybody was like, "Yeah, we want more of this." So, and then we just started clearing brush, and one of our partners on the board,
Fixing your foxhole,
Yeah.
we started making it nice, and we do different events. They're not necessarily tournaments, but they're just like fun shoots for points. You hit the kill zone, things like that. It's just really, we put people in tough positions to shoot their bow. That's the whole point of it.
Positions that you'll be in.
You'll be in.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You got to
Yeah.
practice
'Cause,
your
like-
marksmanship and
Right.
that
Yeah,
aspect.
because I see guys out there shooting 60 yards and they're hitting the 10 ring all the time on the target, but then you put them in a blind and it's a
Yeah,
little
it's not the
different.
yeah, at angles,
Because you're sitting down. Can
Yeah.
you shoot that bow sitting down like
Yeah.
that?
We can essentially replicate a hunt
Yeah.
out
That's money right there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
that
it,
is-
guys. I love it.
I don't know any range around that does that.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
and
That's-
like we've been approached by like ASA director for Texas and other archery associations like, hey, we're really interested in seeing archery get built in Central Texas, and we're like, yeah, but we kind of like what we are right now, which is where we got involved with Fort Cavazos, Fort Hood, for their archery program, and they, as you guys all know, like the Sportsman Center shut down.
Yeah.
The MWR lost a bunch of funding, and they're just
Still touchy subject, and
they're
it's been
still
a while.
well they were losing funding for years, and finally it just got, when they raised the federal minimum wage up, they just couldn't afford to like keep people paid
Right.
for much longer, so they shut it down. The eating area is still open. The kitchen's not open, but you can still use the area right now. But the Sportsman Center range has been in disarray for years, as most people from this area would know. It's
Right.
like glued carpets, but the skeet range, they operate like a Warrior Venture Quest program for
Oh.
units, so units can go, like you do paintball and stuff at Ballora, they do skeet range. So we brought it up to the Garrison Sergeant Major, and we're like, hey, we're a nonprofit archery range or archery club, and we'd be interested in seeing what we can do for y'all, because as we understand it, like they had a bunch of new targets that they just didn't get installed. So now we're going to be running that for them, so bringing active duty units through archery training for a morning and just kind of doing that team building event through
Yeah.
archery. And we'll have 3D targets out there and new backstops. It's gonna be a completely different looking range pretty soon. And then we'll also have the 3D range out at Ballora, which was shut down in like 2012. And that is a 34 lane, 1 mile long
It's cool.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's we got a lot of work ahead of us, but we
Need all the help we can get.
yeah. So if you want to volunteer, hit me up.
Yeah,
we're-
I'll talk to you after.
Yeah.
After this.
Yeah.
I'm down to help.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys are doing a lot for not only the community, or well, not only just turkey hunting, but deer hunting with
Yeah.
the archery range out there, but
We're trying.
for the
trying.
community as a whole.
Yeah, we're trying, because kids are involved in archery. We get a lot of high school athletes calling us like, hey, I need a place to train, and they come out and they shoot with us. We get a lot of this place is a big bow hunting community because the base doesn't allow you to use rifles.
Right.
You can use slugs, but only a certain time of year for deer season. So a lot of soldiers pick up archery naturally because it's just easier to PCS around with and hunt with. So they're looking for places to train and to get better, because it's all in us as soldiers. Like, we want to train how we fight, and we want to be successful. And we're hopefully, in the next year, we plan on having being Central Texas becoming the central hub for archery in the state. That's our goal,
Yeah.
and that's where we're heading. Hopefully,
Looks like you're on a
Yeah.
on a good glide path there.
a lot of sleepless nights.
He's been grinding pretty hard.
Yeah, so we got Texas Parks and Wildlife involved, and they want to help us out, and it's a lot, but I think it's for a good reason. And my goal, the message that I got from the leadership on the base was like, man, we want to do this, we just don't have people that we can hire to do it. So the base is really looking to bring the sportsman's community back together, but it's just got to be done through volunteers, like nonprofits and people that want to do it.
I think there's enough of a community here to bring it.
I think
It's
so
going to take
too.
a little time. It's
Yeah.
going to take
Yeah,
a little.
that's
Yeah.
really-
Yeah, it just takes time and patience and understanding, and nothing's easy with the government, as we all know. There's a lot of red tape, and we just got to navigate it and not be jerks about it. But yeah, that range right now, our one off of 195, that's open 24 hours a day. You basically sign up as a member, and you become a member of the club, so you can go to all of our meetings where we sit there and we yell at each other about different topics. And
Do y'all have a social media or website or something
Yeah.
people can find you on?
yeah, we're on Facebook. It's also on our One Mission Outdoors page. You can find the range information there. It's on 1MO Archery. That's all it's called. And you can go on there, hit us up. We post a lot of content on there as well. And you sign up, become a member. Yeah,
Google.
we're on Google. We're trending on Google again. And then we're also we do events probably every month, sometimes twice a month, and we're going to be holding bow hunter education out there soon. And you just sign up, you get a code to the gate, and that's it. You can go in any time and shoot.
Well, that's a free connect for anybody that's going to be watching this. If you come into Central Texas,
Yeah.
you need somewhere to shoot. You need someone to talk to about turkeys.
Yeah.
You need somewhere to get in
Local
a deer
experts.
stand. Yeah, to get in a deer stand to practice your shooting, or a tree stand.
Yeah.
Here it is, right here. It's here.
Yeah, we'll be doing saddle training too. So we just
Whitetail
became-
workshop.
Yeah,
Whitetail workshop, just like the
Yeah.
turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to do something like that. Maybe not as robust as the turkey, but more safety and like when to shoot and
Yeah.
how deer respond to certain things. Some tactics,
Yeah.
local Central Texas tactics.
We just became partners with Latitude Outdoors, so we'll be getting a lot of their saddles in the area to basically have people like try it out. Because that's one thing I think people don't get is they don't get a tree stand to try out or a saddle to try out before they decide what they want to hunt with.
Yeah.
And so that's what the range is going to be for. Like
That's awesome, man.
That is so cool.
God,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're a bigger guy like me, like you want to try out a certain saddle,
He
and
wasn't
try it
sure.
on.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure at all. I was like, shit ain't gonna hold me. What are you talking about?
That's how I felt
He
about
came
tree
over.
stands.
He came over. I thought he was going to die up on that tree.
Oh, dude, I was a little shaky, but
He's good now.
yeah, now I'm climbing whatever I can. But yeah, it just comes with confidence and training, and that's what that ring is going to be for.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, we've been going for a while. I guess we better start wrapping it up. Is there anything y'all want to throw in, or any
just-
last tips, tricks, comments?
Just as a new turkey hunter, use those 2 legs that God gave you.
Yeah.
Walk, scout, and scout some more.
Look, listen, and be patient.
Yeah. Stop, look, listen, right?
Yeah, and like I said earlier, if you're interested in helping out with the archery programs around here, or if you're a diehard hunter and you want your content to be put out and you're interested in joining the team, hit us up. We're always looking for people to help out spread the cause. Our original goal was to make awareness of the different active duty installations and the hunt programs there and the fishing programs there, and kind of spread that knowledge through One Mission Outdoors brand. And just like, we got guys in Alaska, we got guys in Leonardwood right
Nice.
now, and they're always posting content because they're doing what they love. They're
Yeah.
trapping, hunting.
Kentucky,
Yeah, we got people all over.
Missouri.
So if you're out there, or if you're PCSing somewhere and you still want to be connected, with a great community, hit us up. We're definitely looking for folks to join us.
Absolutely.
Great organization too, doing good things.
Yeah.
Trying to spread that out.
Trying our best.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate it. We're gonna have to do this again. We'll have to.
Yeah,
sit
for
down.
sure.
It'll be
We,
fine.
we got threw off a little bit in the beginning with the breakdown.
It's all good.
It seems to be happening this week, Ben. Like, I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys following along this long and working through us with the technical difficulties we had. But, that's the trade-off of going live or recording and editing and post-editing and all that stuff. We're trying to do our best to bring you the same quality content, but do it live. So it's exclusive to you guys following us on Facebook and YouTube. You guys look up One Mission Outdoors, go to their website, explore all the different tabs. They've designed it so well that you can click on the link for the archery. You can go into the different organizations that are partnered with them. You can take a look at their camo and their patterns that they're designing. It's a very nicely designed website, and it's One Mission Outdoors. Go check them out, and they can use your support. If you're in the Central Texas area, and you are part of the, outdoor, even if you like nature, look them up, see how you can contribute, because they need hands. See what you can do to partake in some of the events they have, and they're doing great things in the community. We're going to be having them on again, and we'll just continue this, conversation. But we appreciate you guys being patient with us, and we'll sign out.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.